All right, strap in, everyone, because today we are diving deep into SpaceX and their incredible plans to colonize Mars using Starship.
It's a big one.
Yeah, you sent us so much info about this.
Because
And
it's a really interesting topic.
yeah, and this isn't just like a quick trip, right? We're talking about making Mars travel affordable
Right.
and maybe even living there permanently.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's so interesting about this whole thing.
Yeah, reusable rockets, making fuel on Mars itself,
It's pretty wild.
even Martian cities.
It-
There is so much to cover.
It's really the scope of it all. It's not just planting a flag on Mars. They want to make it a place where humans can actually live long term.
Okay, so first things first. Why Mars? I mean, we've got the moon right here.
Yeah.
Seems a lot closer.
Yeah, that's true. But when you really start thinking about living somewhere for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
Mars has some big advantages over the moon.
Oh, like what?
Well, it's more Earth-like, for one.
Really?
Yeah, the day and night cycle on Mars is almost the same as Earth's.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah, just 40 minutes longer, that's it.
Wow.
And there's a chance we could use stuff that's already on Mars.
Like what kind of stuff?
Frozen water, carbon dioxide, things like that.
Oh, interesting. The moon doesn't have that.
Not really. It's much harsher, and it doesn't have a lot to offer in terms of resources.
So it's like
Yeah.
picking a fixer-upper house that has potential versus just a
Right.
empty lot in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. Mars has potential.
Gotcha. Okay, so how do we even get there? This is where Starship comes in.
Yeah, Starship is how they plan to do it, and it's unlike any rocket we've ever seen before.
What's so different about it?
Well, picture this. A spacecraft that is almost 400 feet tall.
Whoa, that's huge.
I know, right? And it's made up of two parts,
Okay.
the Starship spacecraft itself,
Mm-hmm.
and then this massive booster called the Super Heavy.
So it's basically a giant rocket ship.
Yeah, you could say that. Okay.
And I keep hearing of reusability. Is that the big deal here?
Reusability is absolutely key. Think about it like an airplane. You land it, refuel it, and it can fly again.
So you're saying they can use the same spacecraft over and over?
Exactly. And that's how they are going to make Mars travel affordable. It's a game changer.
Because right now, space travel is super expensive.
Yeah, no kidding. Right now, it costs about $100,000 to send just 1 kilogram of anything to Mars.
Wow, that is crazy expensive. And SpaceX wants to change that.
Yeah, they want to get it down to $200 per kilogram.
Seriously.
Seriously. Using Starship. In fact, Elon Musk thinks that eventually each launch could cost as little as $2 million.
Wait, hold on. Didn't you say,
Yeah.
Curiosity, that Mars rover
Yes.
that cost billions just to send one way?
2.5 billion to be exact.
So Starship would be
Yeah,
way cheaper.
way cheaper. Potentially even making Mars travel almost routine.
Routine, like going on a business trip.
Well, maybe not that routine,
Okay.
but a lot more frequent than it is now, that's for sure.
Okay, I'm starting to see the vision here.
Yeah.
So walk me through how this journey to Mars would actually work.
All right, so first, Starship launches into low Earth orbit, and then, get this, it refuels in space using a separate tanker Starship.
like a
Yeah.
space gas station.
Yeah, exactly. A cosmic pit stop, if you will.
Okay, so they refuel and then what?
And then they are off to Mars.
Which takes
6 to 9 months.
9 months. Wow. Okay, so they get to Mars, but what about the trip back? Do they have another tanker waiting for them there?
Well, that's where things get even more innovative.
Oh.
They're actually planning on making fuel on Mars itself.
What? Breaking fuel on Mars? How is that even possible?
So they're going to use Martian ice and CO2 to make methane and oxygen.
To make
Yeah.
rocket fuel.
Yes. Rocket fuel, and that's what powers Starship.
That's incredible. So they're not bringing fuel with them from Earth.
Nope. It's made right there on Mars.
That's wild. What do they call that? Making stuff on Mars?
It's called in situ resource utilization.
In situ resource utilization.
Yeah, a fancy way of saying they're living off the land.
Mhm.
But on Mars,
I like it. So that means they don't have to haul as much stuff from Earth.
right, exactly. And that keeps the cost down and makes round trips possible.
Okay, that makes sense. Less stuff to carry means cheaper and more practical, especially if you want to live there permanently.
Right.
But let's be real for a second. Landing a giant spacecraft on Mars, that can't be easy, right?
Yeah, you're right about that. It's definitely not a walk in the park.
What about those Martian dust storms I keep hearing about? And all that radiation?
You bring up some very valid points.
Thanks.
Landing something that big, even with Mars's lower gravity, is a huge challenge.
Yeah.
And you're right, those Martian dust storms are no joke. They can cover the entire planet.
Thanks.
And the radiation levels on Mars are much higher than on Earth, which is another big concern.
Those are some serious hurdles.
Very serious, but they are not insurmountable.
So SpaceX thinks they can overcome all this.
That's the plan. They're already working on solutions like advanced landing systems
Oh.
and habitats that can protect people from radiation.
So let's say they do figure all that out.
Mm-hmm.
What's next? What does the future look like for humans on Mars?
Well, Elon Musk's ultimate goal is to create a self-sustaining Martian colony.
A whole colony, like a real settlement.
Yeah, a complete settlement with everything humans need to not just survive,
Really?
but to actually thrive.
Like what?
We're talking farms, power plants, homes, maybe even cities.
Whoa. So we're talking about building a whole civilization on another planet.
Yeah, that's basically the plan.
That's mind-blowing. This isn't just about exploring Mars anymore.
It's bigger than that.
Yeah, it's about the future of humanity itself.
You got it. It opens up so many possibilities for science,
Mhm.
technology,
Yeah.
and what it means to be human.
That's a great point. This could change everything about how we see ourselves and our place in the universe.
Exactly. And that's why this is so much more than just a space mission.
It's a whole new chapter in human history.
Exactly.
But we're still figuring out what the story will be.
Yeah, and that's what's so exciting about it.
It really is.
Mm.
I can't wait to see what happens next.
Me too. It's
Yeah.
going to be fascinating.
It really is. Yeah, it really is mind-boggling when you think about what it would mean to actually have humans living on Mars permanently.
It really makes you think differently about humanity, you know? Like
Cool.
for centuries, we've been looking up at the stars,
Right.
wondering if we're alone, and now
Yeah.
we're about to take this huge leap toward becoming a multi-planetary species.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
But with such a huge undertaking,
Mm-hmm.
there are bound to be a ton of challenges.
Definitely.
I mean, we've talked about the technical stuff,
Right.
but what about the human element?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
The people who would actually live on Mars?
Yeah, we can't forget about that. Think about it.
Yeah.
Leaving Earth behind, knowing that you might not ever be able to come back.
I can't even imagine.
The isolation, the risks, being so far away from everything, you know?
Yeah. It must be a huge psychological impact.
For sure. It would weigh heavily on anyone.
It really makes you wonder what kind of person would actually want to do that.
Right. What kind of person could thrive in that kind of environment?
Would it be like
Mm-hmm.
thrill seekers,
Yeah.
pioneers, people who just want a fresh start?
I think it would be a mix of all those things.
Yeah, probably.
But for sure, they would have to be resilient, resourceful, and adaptable, for starters.
Makes sense. Able to solve problems.
Exactly. And stay positive even when things get tough, which they definitely would.
Yeah, being that far away from Earth, you'd have to rely on each other a lot.
Oh, absolutely. You couldn't do it alone. You'd need to be compassionate and community-minded.
Because your survival would depend on everyone working together.
Exactly. And that brings up a whole other set of questions, right?
Like what?
What kind of society would we create on Mars? Would it be like Earth?
With all the same problems?
Yeah. Or would we try to do something different?
Something better.
Yeah. More equitable, sustainable, you know.
It's almost like
Get
we're
it.
starting a whole new chapter in human history.
I like that.
But we haven't figured out the story yet.
That's a great way to put it. And it's not just about surviving on Mars.
Right.
It's about the values that will guide this new Martian society.
Yeah.
Do we prioritize individual freedom or collective responsibility?
Wow.
Competition or cooperation? These are the questions we need to be asking now.
Before we even send people there.
Exactly.
And these aren't just questions for scientists and engineers.
Right.
They're for everyone.
Everyone. This is about the future of humanity. And it shouldn't just be decided by a few people.
It should be a conversation that we're all having.
Absolutely. Policymakers, experts, everyday citizens.
Much of everyone.
Everyone needs to be a part of it.
It's a huge task, but it's also incredibly exciting.
For sure.
I mean, we're on the edge of a whole new era of exploration and discovery.
And who knows?
Yeah,
It could change how we understand ourselves and our place in the universe.
it really could. And with such a huge opportunity
Mm.
comes a lot of responsibility too. We need to be really thoughtful about how we approach colonizing Mars
Yeah.
and make sure it benefits everyone, not just the people who go there.
That's right. Both here on Earth and on Mars.
Exactly. So as we keep talking about Starship
Mm-hmm.
and all the amazing technology,
Yeah.
we have to keep these bigger questions in mind.
I completely agree. The success of all this depends on more than just technology, you know?
Yeah.
It's about making smart choices, thinking about future generations,
Right.
and having a lot of respect for Mars and what it could mean for life.
That's a really important point.
Yeah, it's not just about conquering another planet.
Yeah.
It's about becoming a multi-planetary species in a
Mm.
way that's sustainable and ethical.
It's about expanding our understanding of what it means to be human.
Exactly.
So we've talked about the challenges of living on Mars.
Yeah.
But what about the people who would actually go?
Mm.
What kind of traits do you think would be essential for those early pioneers?
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, obviously, they would need to be resilient and adaptable, like we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But I think even more important than that would be a strong sense of purpose.
Oh, interesting. Why is that?
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
They're leaving everything they know behind,
Right.
facing unimaginable challenges,
Yeah.
all to establish this new human presence on another planet.
They'd have to really believe in it.
Exactly. They would need an unshakable belief in the mission.
It's like those early explorers
Yes.
setting sail across the ocean, you know?
Exactly. That same pioneering spirit,
Yeah.
that willingness to face the unknown.
But it's different
Oh, yeah, much different.
because they can't just turn around and come back.
You got it.
It's a one-way trip.
Pretty much. The distance, the environment, it
Mm.
demands a whole other level of commitment.
For sure. So we've covered the practical stuff, the psychological stuff.
Right.
What about the cultural implications?
Ooh, that's a fascinating one.
Yeah, like what would a Martian society even look like?
It's a big question.
Would it be like Earth?
It's possible.
Or would they create something totally new?
It's a chance to see how human culture evolves in a completely different environment.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like, would they still celebrate the same holidays? Would they have the same kind of governments?
Who knows? Maybe some elements would stay the same,
Yeah,
but I think a lot of new traditions and beliefs would develop.
I bet. Like their art and music and social structures, everything could be different.
Yeah, and imagine the impact that could have on Earth.
Oh, interesting. You mean like it could influence us back here?
Exactly. The things they learn, the innovations they make,
Yeah.
it could change how we do things here on Earth, too.
So it's not just about going out there.
Nope.
It's about this back and forth.
A feedback loop.
Yeah, that could change human civilization as a whole.
It really is mind-blowing to think about all the possibilities.
I think the craziest thing for me is just how ambitious SpaceX's vision is.
It's huge.
Making Mars travel routine, building a self-sustaining colony.
It sounds like something out of science fiction.
Totally.
Yeah.
But we're actually talking about it happening.
It's pretty amazing.
It really is. And even though there are tons of challenges,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
the fact that we're even having this conversation,
Right.
it just shows you what humans are capable of.
It's inspiring, honestly.
So for our listeners who are probably just as mind-blown as we are,
Yeah.
what's the one thing you want them to take away from all this?
I think the biggest thing to remember is that it's not just about the technology or even reaching Mars.
It's about something more.
It's about the human spirit,
Okay.
our ability to innovate and collaborate,
hmm
and our responsibility to shape a future that benefits everyone.
On Earth and on Mars.
Exactly.
That's a great point. Thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive into SpaceX, Starship, and the future of Mars colonization.
It's been a pleasure.
It really has been. It's a journey that's just beginning, and we can't wait to see what happens next. See y'all next time.